Jo, jetzt sitze ich hier mit Edwin von Gibson Custom Guitars hier am Tisch und ich habe ihn schon mal getroffen vor Jahren, da hatten wir ein super geiles Meeting auf einem Gibson-Event, da gab es 59er zum Aussuchen, da hatten wir ein super geiles Gespräch über Hölzer und sowas. Ich habe ihn den ganzen Abend belabert und er ist wirklich der Junge, um den es geht, wenn es um Gibson Custom Gitarren geht und vor allen Dingen die Selektierung der Hölzer und die Planung von neuen Projekten, Collector's Choice und der ganze Kram. Das ist voll geil. Hey Edwin, nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you.
Hey, I talked about we had a good long conversation in that old building about wood selection and what is the difference about 57 Gold Top and 59.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty interested in that issues, and that's why I'm very happy to have you here. So what's your function within Gibson Custom mainly?
I have several functions within the custom shop. I manage the historic program.
Yeah.
I manage the collector's choice program. I do R&D and product development. I buy all the wood for the custom shop. I visit the different wood vendors everywhere, and I come up with the specifications for the wood and the materials. I work with another guy, Pat Foley, on all the artist model guitars. So I sort of do everything.
Also ich habe ihn gefragt, was er natürlich für Gibson macht, und er hat erzählt, dass er diese ganzen Gitarren natürlich auch plant. Das heißt, der Collector's Choice muss natürlich auch geplant werden. Er arbeitet auch mit Leuten zusammen. So what is the general procedure of speccing a famous guitar? I think that's very interesting because the Collector's Choice models are so successful in Europe, especially in our store.
Yeah.
I think we sold like 8 Sandys a day.
Wow.
In one day, because the people are crawling about that.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you find a real Gibson? Ich habe ihn gefragt, wie sieht's genau aus, wenn man eine 59er wirklich in den Händen hat und sagt, okay, wir machen daraus jetzt einen Gibson Special Run. Das ist ja der Hammer, da zittern mir ja die Knie. Ja? So what is the way to that?
Usually with the collector's choice guitars, it's sort of, as the name implies, there are several people in the guitar market that have influenced the guitar market for all of us. And these guys are typically guys that are rooted in the vintage market, that have collected or have owned influential guitars for quite a while, that typically the whole guitar market recognizes as authorities on vintage guitars,
yeah.
Whether it's Gibsons or Fenders or whatever. And a lot of these guys are friends of mine, and a lot of these guys are, of course, new customers to Gibson that have formed relationships with Gibson over the years. And with Collector's Choice, it's exactly as the name says. If there is a collector that has a particular guitar that they're very fond of, that they really like, then they pick out their guitar that they would like to see Gibson reissue or remake. And if it's a guitar that we think that we can do, that we think would be good for everybody, then we'll start the engineering process of gathering the information to recreate the guitar at that point.
Okay, was er gesagt hat, ist, dass es natürlich viele Leute gibt, die diese alten Gitarren sammeln und die sehr, sehr tief in diesem Vintage-Business drinstecken. Ich habe es auch schon oft gesagt, es gibt 59er Les Pauls, die kosten 200.000 Euro oder 250.000 Euro. Das ist super, sau viel Geld. Und er kennt ganz viele Sammler, die da super geil drinstecken. Und er fährt dahin, schaut sich die Gitarren an. Ja? So you do like a 3D scanning?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
When we get ready to actually get the information together from the guitar, then we'll either bring the guitar into Gibson or we'll go to wherever the guitar is. And whenever I do this with the Collector's Choice guitars or artist model guitars, we have a 3D scanner that we take. And really sort of the important features for us to copy that are specific or more specific for that guitar are the profile of the neck and the top carving on the guitar. because those are the areas where there is the most variance in production.
Yeah.
That's where there was the most variance in the 50s and 60s when they made them, because it's all done by hand.
Yeah.
And that's where we also have the most variance today.
Was gesagt hat, ist, dass natürlich jede 59er ein bisschen anders praktisch geshaped ist. Der Hals ist anders, die Decke ist anders. Und deswegen gibt es auch so viel Streit, ne? Was ist original? Ja? Und deswegen braucht er dann seinen 3D-Scanner, um dann ganz genau abzuchecken, wie diese einzelne Gitarre ist. Das heißt, eine Sandy ist zum Beispiel ein bisschen anders geshaped als eine Goldie. Das ist genau der Unterschied, den es ausmacht. Ja? Das ist der Hammer. Okay, so I think one important thing regarding vintage guitars or do a collector's choice is aging. Because you need the look of the old guitar. Yeah. So I had a visit at your aging department, and I was shivering because it was so. I mean, you know, there are many people in Germany who say like, I don't need aging because I want to wear my guitar myself. Yeah?
Sure.
And I mean, what is your opinion about that?
Well, I think, you know, some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi, you know? So I think it's just a matter of choice. I understand people that want to buy a guitar and want to age it themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay. But I also understand people that want to buy a copy of a guitar in whatever state that it's in.
Yeah.
And I understand that also. If I go to buy a Sandy, maybe I don't want to buy a new looking guitar called Sandy. I want to buy Sandy.
Yeah.
I want to buy the closest thing to Sandy that I can buy. So I want to buy the aged guitar. And over the years also, several people have said your aged guitars sound different than your new guitars.
Yeah.
And the processes are all the same on the guitars. I think a lot of it is mental, because I think that if you're buying a guitar that's already beat up and worn, you're more comfortable when you play the guitar, and you're more relaxed when you play the guitar. So what you're hearing and what you're feeling goes to your fingers, and that gets translated more easily.
Yeah. Was gesagt hat, ist, dass natürlich immer eine Geschmackssache ist. Ne? Der eine mag lieber eine VHS oder eine High Gloss, und jemand anders fährt völlig auf das Aging ab. When we talk about aging, I mean, there's so many people in Germany who do not like aging, because they say, hey, I destroy a guitar myself. Yeah. But what I saw in your department, in the holy aging area, that you and your team is doing an art. Yeah. And that was very, very impressive. So what do you think about aging?
Well, I think aging it's a pretty amazing thing, and it's not for everybody. I understand that, you know, some people do like new shiny guitars, and some people want to buy new shiny guitars and eventually make them look old and worn themselves. But to me, with the aging, it's almost like a step up. For being creative with the guitar. When we make guitars at the custom shop and at Gibson, you know, so much of what we do is based on copying something that Gibson did, you know, 40 or 50 years ago. We make Les Pauls, and we copy the Les Paul shape and all of that. So for me, aging is just a continuation of that. Only with specific guitars. When we get ready to do a guitar like Sandy, and it's aged and it's worn and it has all that in there, to me it's sort of like it's the story of the guitar. It's the life of the guitar. What has that guitar gone through?
Yeah.
What created that wear? Who owned it? How did that happen? And with a lot of the guitars that we do, it's a very important feature on the guitar. A lot of the guitars that we do that are artist models. When we got ready to do the #1 Jimmy Page guitar, it was really sort of interesting because there were marks on the guitar that to Jimmy Page he didn't think were that important. He was almost embarrassed that the marks were on the guitar. But they had a wonderful story. In the cutaway, there's a cigarette burn. And he was telling us that he was the guitar was sitting on a stand on stage and he was playing his number 2 guitar and he had a cigarette and he took it out and he flicked it off to the side. And it actually landed in the cutaway and he stood there and he said it's like time froze. It was burning his guitar. And to him it was embarrassing. But it's a story of the guitar, you know?
Ich habe ihn gefragt, wie das aussieht. Ich meine, es gibt in Deutschland wirklich viele, oder nicht nur in Deutschland, es gibt auf der ganzen Welt viele Leute, die einfach sagen, Aging ist total bescheuert, ich will noch eine neue Gitarre kaufen und ich brauche keine Gitarre, die kaputt ist, ja? Die aussieht, als hätte man sie irgendwie hinterm Auto hergeschliffen. Und ich war bei ihm wirklich im Aging Department drin und habe mir das angeschaut, mit wie viel Liebe die Leute wirklich in seinem Team die Gitarren agen und es hat mich echt umgehauen, weil die waren da ganz ruhig und haben da ihre Sachen gemacht und so weiter. Und ich habe ihn gefragt, was hältst du eigentlich davon? Ich meine, von diesem ganzen Aging-Wahnsinn. Ja? Und er sagt halt, das gehört gewissermaßen zu einer alten Gitarre dazu. Ja? Und er versucht das natürlich auch in die neuen Gitarren reinzubringen, weil es ist einfach ein weiterer Schritt der Gitarrenbaukunst. Ne? Ihr müsst euch das so vorstellen, die Gitarren werden hier gebaut mit aller Liebe und danach kommt das Aging on top obendrauf, wie die Sahne obendrauf. Er hat zum Beispiel erzählt, Jimmy Page hatte eine Gitarre, die hatte so eine kleine Brandwunde im Cutaway und jede Macke erzählt natürlich eine Geschichte. Ja? Und wenn natürlich Jimmy Page so die Kippe rüber schnickt und die landet natürlich im Cutaway und er muss diese Macke dann wirklich nachbauen, das ist natürlich eine super geil anspruchsvolle Sache. Und das ist natürlich das, was er macht in seinem Team. Echt, mir haben echt die Knie geschlottert, als wir drüben im Aging Department waren. Das ist der absolute Hammer. I did hear about like 6 or 7 Goldies, and I had to listen about like 8 or 9 Sandys. And what I tell you is every Goldie is sounding pretty similar, and every Sandy is sounding pretty similar. And for me, especially for me as a tone guy, I'm very interested in the reason for that. Because how do you create? I mean, you're known as wood buyer and wood selector within that Gibson thing, and I'm so interested in that issue because I want to know what do you decide, or what is your selection before building a series like the Collector's Choice 2. I mean, you made like over 200 guitars, and they're all sounding like within one family.
Yeah.
And that's very, very, very cool.
Well, the good thing about the Collector's Choice guitars and about recreating specific guitars are when we have the guitar and we're going over it, getting all of the specifications, doing the scan, all the photos and stuff, then it gives us an opportunity also to play the guitar, acoustically and hear what it sounds like, and to plug it up to an amp and actually hear what it sounds like. On guitars like Sandy and some of the other guitars that we've done, the great thing is they have specific tops on them. The top that's on a Sandy is a hard maple top, and the flame that's on the top is, you know, a specific width consistently on the top. Sort of has the look of maybe a Billy Gibbons style top or something like that. So it's the crossing pattern that's in the flame, and the grain orientation too that's in there. You know, it's a rifts on top. So all of those things play into the sound of the piece of maple.
Yeah.
That's what generates the sound of the piece of maple. The other thing is the overall weight of the guitar. So, you know, you can take a top and you can weigh it, and then you can weigh the original guitar and just subtract the rest out for the body. There's a little formula that we have, and then you can subtract the rest out for the weight of the body. So on the Collector's Choice guitars, what we try to do is we try to narrow that range down. We say that, you know, we need tops that look like this, and they can only be this type of top, and we need backs, and the weight range on the backs for this model is, you know, in this small range. And then those two together, that's what gives you the sound. And the overall weight of the guitars needs to be in this sort of more specialized weight range. That's what generates the sound of the guitar acoustically.
Well, first, it's just a Les Paul with a maple top and a mahogany back. And, I mean, I don't expect such huge differences, but they are really audible. Er hat gesagt, dass natürlich, wenn die Collector's Choice reingebaut werden, dass dann natürlich alles ganz genau gleich gebaut wird und auch gleich gewogen wird. Das heißt, die Decken werden selektiert auf dieses Modell, die Rücken werden so ausgesucht, dass sie auch am Schluss das richtige Gewicht haben und so weiter. Auch das Halsprofil hat einen bestimmten Klang, weil es natürlich auch eine bestimmte Menge von Mahagoni hat und so weiter. Und so liegt es natürlich daran, dass alle Gitarren gleich selektiert sind, dass die auch sehr, sehr nah zusammen klingen. I mean, even the neck, when the neck is different, the sound is different.
Yes,
Also,
yeah.
I mean, we have some Gibsons in the store with a thicker neck and a thinner neck, and it's such a huge difference. Yeah,
because the sound of a guitar, you know, the first place that the sound is generated, all the sound really is generated, is the neck of the guitar. If you have a big neck with a large neck tenon, then the guitar is going to sound, you know, very different than a small thin neck with, you know, a big or a small neck tenon. You know, think about 1959 guitars, you know, 59s, original 59s, sounded very, very different than 1960s. And you start looking at what they did that was different, you know. And a 1960 neck, later 1960 necks, are typically very thin, you know, maybe a little bit whippy type of necks, whereas the earlier ones are more meat there. And that's really what you want.
Ich meine, er sagt natürlich dasselbe, was ich auch immer predige. Ja, die Gitarren klingen unterschiedlich, wenn sie unterschiedlich gebaut sind. Wenn die Hälse dicker sind, klingen die Gitarren völlig anders, als wenn sie dünner sind. Das ist wirklich der absolute Hammer. Ich meine, es gibt Leute, die sagen, dass eine Gitarre nur wegen der Pickups klingt, aber das ist natürlich völliger Quatsch. Ja. I mean, you told me about, you're speccing new guitars at the moment for forthcoming projects. Or are there some things you want to talk about, or you can't talk about because I know they're pretty secret?
Yeah, well, there's nothing really that I can talk about at this particular point, other than saying, coming up very soon, we have some absolutely amazing artist guitars that we're going to be launching fairly soon here. We've been very fortunate because we have a lot of great guitar players that want to work with us, and you know, we want to work with them also. And we have some more collector's choice guitars that are on the horizon that we're working on, and those are going to be some pretty incredible guitars also.
That means you drive to the artist houses with your 3D scanner and taking all the pictures,
or fly to them.
Or fly to them. So when they're really far away, that's a good job, man. Er sagt, er kann uns jetzt noch nicht so ganz genau sagen, was er so noch plant, aber ich bin sicher, dass wir das bald wissen werden. Er fliegt natürlich dann zu den ganzen Leuten, die diese Gitarren haben, und mancher fährt auch mit dem Auto, hat dann seinen Scanner dabei, macht dann 100 Millionen Fotos von der Gitarre, und dann haben wir sowas Ähnliches wie die Sandy oder die Donna oder die Collector's Choice. Die Leute, die hier arbeiten, ja, die bauen die Gitarren mit so einem gewissen Stolz. Das ist wirklich kein Gelaber. Wenn ihr hier durch die Hallen geht und euch mal anschaut, wie die ganze Produktion läuft, das sind alles Leute, die sich ihres Tuns bewusst sind. I mean, when I went through the factory, I saw all those proud people building guitars, and that was very impressive because you have all those rockers and metalheads who do like building the guitar, and that was very impressive.
Oh yeah, the guys that are out there that work really, really hard, and you know, they do they do a great job.
Yeah.
I've been with the company for a long time, and it really is a privilege to work with the people that I get to work with out there. You know, they're wonderful. They care about the guitars, and they just want the guitars to be good, and they want everybody to like the guitars.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I think we have it. Thank you for having us. It was a big honor to talk to that guy, Edwin Wilson from Gibson Custom.